Back in the early 2000s, when I was teaching an introductory foreign policy course, one of the standard textbook items was why we don't have a policy of, at least at the time, a pointed public policy of assassination, even though it was definitely known that we had our eye on Castro and attempted several times, and tried to employ the mafia to do it. And although, and one of the reasons that it wasn't, really accepted foreign policy was, unlike Paul Castellano or Bugsy Siegel, when you whack a mafia boss, it arguably would have some implication for illegal business, but it wouldn't have a cultural impact like. And those of you who remember the 60s, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, the cultural impact is enormous and unpredictable as well. You don't know what the outcome will be like. And but more importantly, when you kill particularly a dictator, you lose a lot of the apparatus of government. So if you're in the middle of a war, you don't have someone to effectively bargain with if you kill the key leaders, just for a procedural point of view, not necessarily ideological, but because there's no bureaucratic apparatus with whom to deal when you're trying to solve a war. So the Israelis have a term called mowing the grass to kind of use as a euphemism for their retaliations, their military attacks on their Islamic neighbors, on their militarized Islamic neighbors. But in this particular case, they wiped out the entire layers of the Iranian leadership. And so, we're looking to make a deal, but who you make the deal with, we've wiped out a lot of them. So there's a little bit of a practical problem, although, assassinations, particularly of the advanced AI drone brand, have blossomed even under, and Obama had regretted it, but that's come under sort of presidential direction, is that you take out these leaders accordingly. But with the Israeli lawn mowing, I think what Trump has interpreted as more like there's a word trephining, which is in the Middle Ages that was the version of brain surgery, was trephining, where they'd actually drill someone had to have a headache or they were possessed of evil spirits. The resolution was to actually physically drill into the brain and mess around in there, with some obviously unfortunate consequences. So I think Trump has interpreted, giving a haircut into brain surgery with a club, and consequently we have the outcome. The other term of reference I wanted to mention is that Trump, very much like, and I think Jon Stewart made the point. Trump, big fan of television wrestling, and there's a character called the Heel, Heel, that you may be familiar with. You might not be familiar with the term of he's kind of a heel, meaning a mean guy. So you have the character that everybody loves. He gets lots of attention. It's one of the most popular personality characters in TV wrestling, which is the heel, which is the guy that's obvious cheat. He's the one that the ref's back is turned, and he takes the chair and illegally bunks his opponent over the head or hides a knife. And he's obviously it's so obvious that the audience goes nuts that he's getting away with such obvious skullduggery. And this, I think, is the appeal. And unfortunately, we're all so conditioned to television entertainment that we think that's what the world's about, including politics, and that explains part of the reason that we have, the genuine and sincere expression of the American democracy not sufficient to elect Trump twice. So there it is.